yeah, and then it just went bang, and it was sad. So I get it because we all had ended up at Cryotech, which is.
All right. Good evening, everyone, and welcome to tonight's council meeting. Council would like to acknowledge the Wadawurrung people as the traditional owners of the lands, waterways and skies we meet on today, and pay respects to elders past and present. We acknowledge all Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander people who are part of the greater Geelong community today. Now, this meeting is being broadcast on the internet, and a recording of the meeting will be published on Council's website. I'm Mayor Trent Sullivan, and I'll be chairing tonight's council meeting. Welcome to everyone who has joined us here at City Hall. Charles, and welcome to all those who are tuning in live streaming online. This will be our second last meeting as a council prior to the declaration of the 2024 City of Greater Geelong election results next month, and our final meeting is scheduled for Tuesday the 22nd of October. We're currently in the election period right now, also known as caretaker period, so there will be unfortunately no public questions and submission time this meeting for our last meeting on the 22nd of October. So with that in mind, we'll get right underway. Councillors, I'll ask for strict adherence to speaking time limits this evening. There's one leave of absence for us to consider that has been submitted. Leave of absence to be granted for Councillor Contal from the 10th of September to the 17th of September 2024 inclusive. Can we have a mover and a seconder for that leave? You're leaving here for the 10th of September. Oh, sorry. That's an outdated thing there. Are you going for October or no leave? Roger that. There we go then. We can repeat it. We can repeat another week or leave if you like, Councillor Contal. No worries. Well, there's no apologies and no leaves of absence to be noticed. That's fine. We'll move on there to declarations of conflict of interest. Are there any declarations to be made? Not any arise throughout the meeting, please make them known. Now please, can I have a mover and a seconder for the confirmation of the minutes for the meeting held on the 27th of August? Is that the last one we're doing? Last meeting? Councillor Hathaway, thank you. Seconded by Councillor Wilkinson. All those in favour? Thank you. All those against? That is carried. Now, unfortunately, as I've said, we would normally have public question and submission time right now with petitions and joint letters, but unfortunately we cannot do that due to the fact that we are in caretaker period right now. So we'll head straight into section 2, which is our reports for the evening. The first one being our Community Plan Quarterly Report, June 2024. And in line with Council's election period policy, the recommendation decision for this report is not a prohibited decision of Council. Either being moved by Councillor Mason, seconded by Councillor Maloney. Councillor Mason.
Thank you, Mr Mayor. This is, as you said, to present our Community Plan Quarterly Report to June 24 for consideration and noting by Council. Mr Mayor, councillors and officers have spent a lot of time over the last 5 years first developing and then implementing and monitoring our Community Plan 21 to 25. It's a key strategic document which identifies the outcomes and priorities Council will focus its efforts on over the 4 years to ensure the social, economic and environmental sustainability of our region. And it also aligns with our community plan with the 4 strategic priorities: healthy, caring and inclusive community, sustainable growth and environment, a strong economy and high-performing council and organisation. Mr Mayor, and furthermore, consistent with the 2020 Act, this is the first time the Municipal Public Health and Wellbeing Plan has been integrated with this council plan. And of course, it's also supported by an annual budget and an annual action plan. So this is the final quarterly report of the Annual Action Plan 23 to 24 and highlights the projects, initiatives and programs that have taken place for that period. And I'm pleased to report that of the 75 actions that have been monitored, at the end of June 2024, 57 actions are completed and 18 actions are ongoing. I'll just mention 6 of the completed actions which I'm really quite animated and pleased that they have been completed. And these are work on the prevention of family violence and violence against women, support for the provision of kindergarten and maternal and child health services, partnering with Geelong Zero Alliance to co-design a strategic approach to end homelessness, preparation of the strategic assessment under the Environment Protection and Biodiversity Conservation Act and Biodiversity Conservation Strategy for the Northern and Western Growth Areas, incorporation of environmentally sustainable design principles into new urban growth areas, including zero carbon, water efficiency, sustainable transport, urban greening and climate resilience. Review of annual action plans for the Environment Strategy 2020 to 2030 and the Climate Change Response Plan 2021 to 2030. Mr Mayor, there's a lot of work to do and we note that there are 18 ongoing actions which work will continue on. And especially we need to note implementation of the Social Housing Plan 20 to 2041 is ongoing. The Drysdale Sporting Precinct Master Plan and the preparation of a heritage strategy to expand cultural inclusivity that better acknowledges and integrates the management of First Nations heritage, European heritage and the heritage of all those other cultural groups who are now integral to our community. And lastly, ongoing, is advocacy for the funding for the implementation of the Ballerina Arts Centre for the Potato Shed business case. Mr Mayor, I commend all involved in maintaining the required momentum in each of the 4 strategic priorities and understand the various issues which constrained the higher completion rate. Mr Mayor, I'll leave it to other councillors to comment on the many other achievements and constraints.
Thank you, Councillor Mason. Councillor Maloney.
Thank you, Councillor Mason, for that extended and wonderful summary of this wonderful document. Thanks to officers and fellow councillors for making this happen. I'm really keen to see the artwork murals in Little Malop Street, and also please get along to Sparrowvale Wetlands. It's a beautiful place that is now a public parkland thanks to the phase 2 that has been implemented as part of this plan. I'll leave it for other councillors to comment. Thanks.
Thank you, Councillor Maloney. Any other councillors to comment? Not. Councillor Mason to close.
Thank you, Mr Mayor. I thought there might have been 1 or 2 more comments, but I would like to emphasise the work done by officers and the excellent work that's been done throughout the long period of the implementation of this plan and the recent monitoring. And I really commend the officers and councillors for all the work that's been put into it. I equally understand that all cannot be done at once, and indeed we don't monitor some of our operations adequately. And I make this note in that though we have done some excellent work, there still needs to be improvements in our monitoring system. For example, we do intend to harmonise various policy documents, especially those related to the management of climate change and environment, and that this is a work in progress and in the hands of our excellent environmental team. But I don't note that we monitor that as well as we ought to. And we have taken steps to fulfil the November 23 Council resolution for the development of a business case for livestock and information exchange, and further attention to the agriculture sector, an agreed element of our strong local economy needs to be monitored as well. Other than that, I recommend that we note this report and thank everyone for their good work.
Thank you, Councillor Mason. With that, put to the vote. All those in favour? Thank you. All those against? That is carried. Item number 2 in the reports. preparation of the 2023-24 annual report, draft financial statements and draft performance statement. As in line with our council election period policy, the recommended decision for this report is not a prohibited decision of council. This one is moved by Councillor Harwood, seconded Deputy Mayor Aiken. Councillor Harwood.
Thank you, Mr Mayor. 23-24 draft financial statements and draft performance statements. Pretty dry topic, but rather important. The report recommends that Council approve in principle the City of Greater Geelong's audited annual financial statements and draft performance statement. The statements are available for the community to read within tonight's meeting agenda, and once certified. The statements outline the City's performance against the 23-24 budget. And here comes the kicker. The total comprehensive result is a surplus of just under $180 million. If we could just put a full stop there, that would be fantastic. But it's actually not quite the case. As we all find over time, our balances of income and expenditure, etc., they're actually, and our budgets are actually moving targets. They're constantly changing. To have a budget, then try to match it as your year-to-date progress, it's almost impossible, I think, over time. And obviously timing is everything with finances. So it's important to note that the figure of $188 million as a surplus doesn't represent the windfall for council at all. It's actually largely made up of non-monetary assets handed over by developers such as drainage, roads, footpaths, etc., which the city is now responsible for and will be therefore responsible for ongoing maintenance, renewal, etc. So 180 million sounds great, but in actual fact it will cost the city a lot more than that over time. So the operating outcome was budgeted for a small surplus, which again varies from year to year. This has been impacted by financial assistance from government level, federal government level, and so the outcome result is actually we have an operating deficit of about $17 million. But this outcome is purely a matter of timing for these grants and does not make a material difference to the council operations or financial sustainability. Council is now responsible for close to $5 billion worth of property, infrastructure, plant and equipment. So as a councillor who's not running any elections, I find it quite amusing, the number of candidates, which is great, on the back to basics. If that was only truly possible in a utopian world, that would be the case. But these numbers alone and the financial history of the council tells us that it's not as basic as we'd like it to be on occasion. So the responsibility on council and the officers is massive with that $5 billion worth of assets that we need to look after. So I just make those quick comments, and I'll leave it to others to dip their toe into the financial statements and see how we go. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Harwood. Deputy Mayor Aiken.
Thank you very much, Mr Mayor. Look, I'm actually proud tonight that my name's going to be on the document and also a signature on this particular document. The 23-24 financial year budget was actually the hardest budget that I've actually ever been involved in as a councillor, and it was for many other councillors as well too. But what the financial report actually shows is that we were correct in the decisions that we made as a council, and that we have been able to meet what that budget actually set forward in terms of our responsibilities as a councillor. What people don't really understand in the broader community is that one of the biggest imposts that we have in local government is rate capping, which actually means that every single year our ability to generate income is less than what our expenditure is actually growing at every single year. So we're being asked every single year under the rate capping system to actually give more to our community, create more services, and do that with reduced income every single year. And the challenge that causes for the organisation, and it will continue as well too, the new council is going to confront this as well too. It is not getting any better, it's only getting worse. what we are confronting is that the only way we can respond to this environment that we're working in financially is to actually continuously look at structural reform of our financial resources and our servicing. So that means every single time that a community asks us to actually deliver a new service, the reality is we have to actually cut another service to be able to deliver that new service. And the financial reports actually show that. It actually shows that our structural finances are actually under significant strain, and the challenge for this council and for future councils is that we have to operate within this constrained environment. It's like having both hands tied behind your back and respond to the community's needs that are being put forward to you as a councillor. And it cannot continue, and it needs to actually have advocacy and continued advocacy of all local governments in Victoria to actually press the case that our community is demanding more from local government, and the reality is the structures in which we're operating cannot deliver it. And my final other comment is actually just, it's great to see that Darren Schultz and other members of his finance team are actually here. We have had continuous turnover of our financial team because it actually burns you out. The amount of work that actually is needed to be done by those people that work in an organisation that is continually put under pressure financially, it does burn you out. And if you actually have a look over the last 10 years, we usually have our CFO last about 12 months to 2 years. Well, Darren, congratulations, you've actually reached that target, 1 year and 8 months. And what Darren did do, he was part of the budget process, which was the most difficult budget process that we ever had. And he's actually been able to oversee the financial figures and deliver that budget and deliver a surplus to the community of Geelong. So to Darren and all the past CFOs and the future CFOs of the City of Greater Geelong, some of us do appreciate the challenges that you have in the finance area. We thank you on behalf of the community that you are giving us the skills, resources and ability to be able to manage the resources and the limited income that we have as a local government. So thank you to everybody past and future in finance as well too. Thank you.
Thank you, Deputy Mayor Aiken. Any councillors to comment? If not, if it's all been said, sorry, Councillor Contell.
Thanks, Mr Mayor. Look, notwithstanding what Bruce and Anthony said, which I don't necessarily disagree with by any means, but it will be interesting to see what the mix of the new council looks like going forward. There's no doubt that certainly in my time has been a pretty strong call from the community, from what I could see, in terms of getting back to some basics. And there's also a lot of discussion about cost of living. No, there's nothing to be, I'm not going to say anything that's not being said. And I think what we need to, what the new council will need to be aware of is that, because there's a strong voice for us to be able to, I guess, deal with the issues that are out there, but within the means that we've got. And so I think the new council will have to be very aware of that. There's also a strong cry for the heart of Geelong to get an injection as well, so that's going to need to be looked at.
Councillor Contell. So any further comments? Noting everything that everyone has said, I'd like to thank the entire finance team for the work they've done and they continuously do all year round in maintaining the budgets and the projects and everything we have here at City of Greater Geelong. The numbers do dictate what we can provide for the community. I'd especially like to acknowledge Darren Schultz for his work as CFO for the city here and for his work and tenure and his service to the entire Greater Geelong region. So thank you, Darren, and thank you for your entire team as well. They do incredible work. With that, I would put that to the vote. All those in favour?
Yes.
Oh, sorry, going to close. Bruce? Councillor Harwood, sorry.
The sage words, just to finish up. I'll chat with Darren later on, but when Darren came on, I wasn't convinced early, but it took me a while to, I guess, understand where Darren was coming from, and I guess seeing finances from a different perspective, and it has served us very well in difficult times. Nothing goes down financially, everything always goes up, and this has been a constant battle for councils throughout Victoria, throughout Australia for that matter, anywhere. And this council has certainly faced some huge challenges with costs and expenses, and this council is in a healthy position. Yes, it still has to be very wary and cognizant of its financial position, but by and large still very strong. It's been under unprecedented pressure with the cost of living and also the expectations from the community themselves as to what they expect council to deliver for them. If it's not the absolute Rolls-Royce delivery model, well then they won't be happy. So I guess the onus is on council to provide the best they possibly can, and at times it comes at actually a prohibitive cost, and we've seen that with some of our capital projects where they've just not been able to meet the mark, but which pretty much sums up council's wheelhouse about the cost of living, because we're providing over 127 odd services. The staff is huge. We've got aged care, aquatics, golf courses, roads, childcare, waste, libraries, sporting facilities, and the list goes on. It wasn't that long ago, when I first came on council, we had $100,000 for the council group to distribute amongst the community. And there were some fairly terse and rough discussions about how far $100,000 would go between 12 councillors. But over time, once we were able to change the thinking of the whole organisation about the need for the community to receive the capital projects that were urgently required, and we were able to actually generate that. And you see clubs today with the huge influx of women participation in sport, which has been number one, and the quality and the quantity of sporting facilities and what they mean, and community organisation, what they actually mean within our community and what they bring and how they actually engage and glue a community together. I'm really proud of that, of this council has been able to do that on many occasions. Apologies for going over time, my first time ever. Our capital projects program, $140 million in the last budget. That is huge, and I don't think there'll be too many councils in Australia that would be up around that particular figure. So that's a really huge effort by the group. And you throw in rate capping and I guess reduction of funding from governments on different occasions makes it even more challenging. And the final sort of comment here is a bit of a shout out to previous financial officers, and we've had some really good ones here. I shouldn't rate, but I'm just going to go back. Obviously, in recent times, Darren and Sean Owens in particular. Back to Ed Michael Degina, but Mike Kelly here for quite a while. He was a real stalwart and a really good operator. And one of the first ones I had, he was a fellow called Peter Gould, really good guy. Peter was great because every single budget, when it was ticked off, had a $6 million surplus, and we met it every time. But that was in a time we could probably do that. So I just make those quick comments, and if you're into financial statements, etc., have a look online and knock yourself out.
Thank you, Councillor Harwood. Put that to the vote. All those in favour? Thank you. Those against? The item is passed. Section number 3, we have a record of the informal meetings of councillors. Can we have a mover and a seconder? Moved Councillor Hathaway, seconded Councillor Murray. All those in favour? Thank you. Those against? That is carried. There's no items to consider in confidential. That brings out a close to our meeting today for the 8th of October. I'll call the meeting to a close at 6:54 p.m. Thank you very much, everyone, for your attendance.